Real quick before you hop into this episode of Pixel Perfect Gaming, we did have a special guest with us this week, our friend Isaac, and he did experience some trouble with his microphone. So there are going to be a couple sections in this that may have some drop off that we weren't able to correct. There's also a couple sections that seem like they probably should have been edited out, but I assure you, I did that on purpose, simply for entertainment. So with that being said, let's get back to the episode. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome back to episode 8 of Pixel Perfect Gaming. I'm Chris.
And I'm Pat. Welcome back, everybody, and hello to the newcomers. Today we have an old friend of mine from high school, Pegs, with us. Say hi, Pegs.
Hello, everyone.
That's Pegs for you. I've known him for a while. Chris has known him for a couple years. He's going to join us today for a couple. We thought he'd be a good addition to some of our topics here. Today, just to give everyone a little overview, something we're going to try out here. We're going to talk about updates on Chris's cat, Houdini. We're going to get Pegs' top 5 games. Then we're going to talk about the Activision, what do you want to call that?
Bullshit.
The Activision bullshit. LCS, maybe a little bit LEC. For people that don't know, it's the League Championship Series. It's like the League of Legends Pro scene. And then we're going to talk about the stress on professionals in eSports. So, Chris, why don't you take it away with Houdini?
Yeah, sounds good. And we also want to get, Pegs or Isaac. I assume we'll use both names at some point throughout this whole thing, but we wanted to get him in on this as he's about to have a baby. So it was kind of like we need to get him on sooner rather than later because I feel like your free time is about to go down the drain a little bit. So
Yeah, it's definitely crunch time.
I think we can have the baby on as a guest.
Yeah, sure.
Right within the first week, too. Why not? Now, the due date, I think you mentioned to me yesterday, was the 24th. Is that right? So potentially next week?
February 24th. We're just waiting. Kind of stressful.
Just a little bit. Could be any moment now. Could happen during the recording of this podcast, for all we know.
Very well could, yeah.
Wouldn't that be exciting?
It does.
I gotta go.
I gotta go, guys. All right, so update on Houdini. Last week we had talked a little bit about how I had taken her to the vet because she's losing fur on both of her sides, and they had done some blood work, which I got the results back. So the blood work came back as normal for her, so she doesn't have endocrine alopecia or really anything going on with her on that one. They weren't able to get a urine sample at the time, so I don't know if I need to go back for that at some point. But as it stands right now, she's still just on anxiety meds, and she is a pain in the ass with that stuff right now.
Did you try the pill pockets?
She hates them. She won't touch them at all. She won't even eat them without pills
of course.
In pockets. She hates them so much. So there's another alternative that I found, which was a bacon paste, where that's essentially all it is a bacon paste, and you pull some out and you wrap the pill in the paste. She does eat that. So that's worked really well so far, but she's been incredibly stressed out the past couple of days, and it honestly seems like the pills are having, the side effects are having a worse effect on her right now than a beneficial effect because it takes a couple weeks for anxiety pills to actually, show positive impact. So she's very skittish right now, very jumpy. She had a very stressful day yesterday, didn't eat at all. I mean, she's on edge, unfortunately, so she's not having a good life right now.
So turning on that vacuum earlier was probably
well.
Not a
and
great
yesterday we had a couple people over at the house, and when anyone knocks on the door, she kind of freaks out. So we had some people knock on the door. So she basically lived in the bedroom the whole day. Didn't eat until after we went to bed. So she didn't eat all day long. Even after everybody had left for the day and there was no one else in the house, she wouldn't come out into the living room. She wanted nothing to do with it.
Have you considered whenever people come over, like if you know that they're coming over, instead of having them knock, just have them text you like, hey, I'm at your door, so you can just let them in?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, that's what happened when Isaac was here last night. He texted me, and it's a little bit better for her. The problem is that we don't always, like UPS, I can't do anything about UPS or, things of that nature, unfortunately.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, there's some that are definitely completely out of your control, but...
Yeah, in general, if people are going to come over that I know of, it's either let me meet you outside or, text me when you're here and we'll let you in, that type of thing. Don't need to freak her out anymore. But hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll see a nice change. I mean, all things considered, I am glad that the blood work came back And I'm glad that the bacon paste is working, because giving her pills is heartbreaking, honestly, because you can just feel the relationship with your cat fracturing as you're trying to stuff a pill down her throat.
Have you tried the bacon paste yourself?
It's not for human consumption, and I don't like bacon, so,
Okay. Can you please right now do that for me?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying. No.
I feel like it's just going to be salt. That's all it's going to be, salt.
Possibly.
There's going to be at least one person that's listening to this podcast, and as soon as you say, well, we're trying this bacon paste thing, they're going to go, I wonder how that tastes. And, you're not.
I mean, I thought it.
Man.
I thought it.
So did I.
I'm not going to try it. I mean, technically, I do owe you one for the pineapple milk fiasco a couple years ago, but I'm not going to do it.
I still have videos of that.
They're good videos. Honestly, we could put those videos on the website.
Speaking of which, we have a website, everybody.
Well, okay, we have a website in progress. I've been working very hard on a website this week. It's not officially up or anything, but we're going to have all of our podcasts on there, an about section for Pat and I, and then Pat and I are actually going to blog on it too, or at least attempt to. Lord knows how that's going to go, but
yeah, I never blogged before, so I don't really know how that's going to go for me. I feel like I'm just going to start typing and just really ramble on.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's there to engage with our community, and I think the more authentic you can be, the better it is.
Yeah, I think I wrote like 4 or 5 different first blog posts before I put one on mine, because I just had no clue what I wanted to say. So I just had to keep writing until I could. That one's good.
Yeah. Also, speaking of which, so Isaac, if you do a plug for your blog real quick, like tell us a little bit about your blog that you have.
So I started a blog about 3 weeks ago called Pro-Am Brewing. So I'm the head brewer at a brewery in Virginia here. I started home brewing, so that's where the pro and amateur comes from. Plugged them together. And basically, I just want to talk about beer and techniques and going over beer styles and helping people understand that, all beer is made differently. All beer is good, just some's gooder than others. Just walking through styles and
gooder.
Yeah. Just talking about, you're tasting this flavor because of this ingredient, and this technique brings out that flavor, just to broaden the horizons of drinking.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I'm a big fan, because Isaac and I were actually at a New Year's party with Matt. Pat, obviously you weren't there, but we actually had a conversation with someone there about beer and the different things about beer. So it kind of linked into that a little bit, which was cool. So we'll put a link to his blog on the website. We're not going to put it anywhere else, so you have to go to our website to find it. Although at the time you're hearing this, you can't do that, but eventually. So give it till the end of the month, and then you can see the link.
Google search it.
Yeah. So it's going to be pixelperfectgaming.com. I already bought the URL for it. Don't go on there now, please. It's password protected. Please don't hack into the website early. Please. Oh, Jesus. I need to edit this out now. I can't put that in there. We've gone too far, guys. We've gone too far.
Oh, man.
All right. Let's get back on topic here. So that's the update on Houdini. I'll keep you guys updated with the anxiety medicine moving forward as I continue to give her that. So moving into the next thing, Isaac, we're going to get your top 5 games, the entry fee for the podcast.
Been excited.
All right, let's hear them.
All right, so
give us the biz.
Starting with number 5, I got to go with Halo 2 as my number 5 choice. I spent countless days of the summer at Matt's house with Andy and Chad playing 2. And it's mainly nostalgia. We would play on Blood Gulch, kill each other over and over again. Kind of my intro into what?
Did you guys do the 4-player split screen, or did you all bring your Xboxes and LAN it?
Oh no, Andy was the only one that had an Xbox, so he'd bring his Xbox. I'd bring my GameCube. We'd go through all the different games. But yeah, Halo 2 was by far the most fun.
Those old school LAN parties.
Yeah. Who is the biggest screen peeker?
Oh, probably me. Let's be honest here. I was the worst, so I had to my advantages.
That's funny.
I appreciate the honesty.
But yeah, I mean that's the reason that I went bought an Xbox 360, Halo 3, and that's the main reason that I've got an Xbox over a PlayStation gaming.
Very cool. So what's your next one?
All right, number 4, more nostalgia, Super Mario World for the SNES.
For the SNES.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's the console that we had growing up. Like I can remember watching my dad like go through, beat Bowser like it was nothing. I want to be good, and I would die on the first world.
All right, hold on real quick. You're breaking up. Like your mic is
Oh no.
hopping in and out.
It was good. It was good for a while, and then it
Yeah.
Rough.
started
Is it better now?
reverting.
Try it again.
Okay, so my number 4 is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. It's a game that we had, or I guess the console was what we had growing up. I just remember, watching my dad play it, go through, beat Bowser, just effortlessly. It's my turn, and I go through and die on the first world.
Classic.
Yeah, it's just such an easy game, but it's also challenging in its own way. Whenever I
Yeah.
watch speedruns, I always watch Super Mario speedruns.
So very nostalgic for you.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to number 3 is the entire Battlefield franchise. I don't know what it is about the game. I'm just really good at it, so that's why I really like it.
I like it because I'm good.
Yeah, like Battlefield 2. I remember playing it in the living room. My dad's like, "Hey, what's that?" He went out and bought an Xbox that night with another copy of Battlefield 2. We pretty much LAN partied. Like he's in the living room, I'm back in my bedroom. We're talking to each other with our headsets.
Did you shit talk your dad?
No, because he was good too. Like we owned it.
Did he shit talk you?
No, he shit talked the opposing players a lot.
I would shit talk my child so hard. I would just assert my dominance right there.
You can't even assert your dominance over your cat, Pat. Don't fool us.
Well,
Yeah.
no one can assert dominance over that cat.
I don't know.
Yeah? Come
I
try.
don't know.
I met him.
All right. Next time I'm up there.
Look, hey, if he knows, all right, he knows that I'm the alpha, but he also
No, he
knows that I'm aging and he could take it from me any moment.
Oh my gosh. So Pegs, what's your favorite Battlefield out of the? I mean, you said the whole franchise, but do you have
yeah.
one that you're really drawn to the most?
So Battlefield 2's my favorite of the franchise. I kind of stopped playing after I bought my PC. And
Still
then
breaking up. Do you have anything? Do you have any like other windows open or any other applications or anything open?
I notice it seems like it's starting to break up whenever you're pausing between words.
Gotta just go through the whole sentence.
I didn't even hear. Gotta go. Whole sentence. It's definitely not. Yeah, it's definitely not picking it up. I would just move your sensitivity like all the way down.
Skiddity-bop-bop.
I was gonna say here we are. It's broken. 100%. It's okay. We can edit this part out. It's not that big a deal.
Okay, how about this?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. All right.
So you were saying Battlefield 2 is your favorite one.
Battlefield 2 is my favorite. Logged the most hours in that one. I bought my PC, so I just kind of stopped playing it. I liked it better on console. But I just got Battlefield 4, which is weird because it's been out for a while. Started playing it again, so kind of fell back in the franchise.
So, what about 2 is what made it your favorite?
Probably just playing with my dad, honestly.
Did you eventually...
Well, it doesn't have multiplayer. It's a single-player game, so my dad went out, bought an Xbox just to play with it. So...
Did you pull a Chris and get better and make him stop?
What?
I have to throw everyone back to that depressing moment.
What? What happened?
I said, did you?
Oh, you're talking about that
my-
damn Doom moment.
Yeah.
No, he had his own controller. It was fine.
Yeah, he didn't have to walk away being like, "Oh, my son doesn't need me anymore." Yeah, no, not everyone depresses their father like I do. Apparently,
Yeah. Well, he would
that's going to
text
be the quote for this episode.
Well, my dad would text me whenever I was in college and be like, "Hey, you want to play Battlefield?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be on in 15."
That's funny. That's pretty cool. All right,
All
so
right.
Battlefield franchise, Battlefield 2. What's your number 2 on the list?
Number 2 is the Borderlands series, specifically Borderlands 1, but I like all of them equally. They're just so much fun to play. If I'm feeling in a down mood, I'm like, I guess I'll play some Borderlands, and then all of a sudden it's been 6 hours. Where'd that go?
Did you like the DLC for Borderlands 1?
Yeah. I spent a lot of time playing the DLC.
That Dr. Ned, I think it was Dr. Ned, the DLC for that. I probably played that like 3 or 4 different times because I've really enjoyed that part of it. That was always fun.
I just went back through and did another playthrough, and I was farming General Knox, and I broke the game. And I have to start a new character.
Oh, lovely.
I glitched it so hard, none of the doors are opening. I'm like falling through the floor and dying. It's not good.
Yeah, not ideal.
Well, man. So if you remember, Pegs, Chris hasn't finished number 2.
Oh,
Yeah, Nathaniel and I played it a long time ago for a couple hours, and I really wasn't into it, so I haven't really done much else with it. So I guess now it will have to be the 3 of us that will have to get into playing through the second one together.
I got a little burnt out because Thani and I were farming it so hard, but I would be down again.
I mean, we wouldn't be farming it so much as just, trying to
Yeah.
play it for the first time, so it'd certainly be a little bit of a different approach.
All right.
Yeah, you guys went like real hard on it. I remember I was like, "Oh, guys, like, I'm level 17. Let's go play." And I log in, and you guys are like level 24. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, and then did like the ultimate Vault Hunter. So we're like, oh, we need to get all the levels. So we started farming stuff to get XP and weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I remember that. I eventually dropped out. I was like, "Well, I can't catch up." So have fun.
All right, so what is your number 1, or do you have an honorable mention that you want to bring up first?
I've got 3 honorable mentions. Number
All right.
1, Spyro.
Now is that now we're going through the honorable mentions? Is that what we're covering here? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
honorable mentions 1 through 3. Spyro's my first honorable mention. It's another one that we kind of grew up playing, brother and I. The Gears of War franchise. I love that game. I don't know what it is about it. Got some funky mechanics to it. Fun to play. Matt and I spent countless hours playing that in high school.
Now, have you played all of them? Like you're caught up on the series?
I've played through 4, and I know there's some other ones.
There are 4 of them? Hold on. Oh my!
No, I think
I
4
thought there were
all, isn't it?
3.
No, I'm
What?
pretty sure. Well, there's like
Gears
those.
5 is what's coming out.
Yeah.
What? I remember playing 1, and then I think I played a lot of 2 with Nathaniel because is that when they added Horde mode? Was 2?
Yeah, two was the added addition of Horde mode, and then
So I
3
played
had
that a
Horde
lot.
mode with like barriers and the cache system.
I've never touched 3. Then, wow, I didn't realize there were that many of them out. Behind the times a little bit here.
My third honorable mention is Super Smash Brothers. That's another game that I can just pick up and play at any point.
I'm trash at that game.
Well,
Have you played the new one at all on the Switch?
I have not. I need to get a Switch. That's.
Well, I
my
was going to say, I
plan.
think the only. I think Nathaniel had already moved by the time it came out. I don't own it, and then I think Philip was thinking about getting a Switch specifically for that game, but I'm not sure if he has.
I thought he bought a GameCube just to have Super Smash Brothers.
That honestly sounds like a very Philip thing to do, doesn't it?
Yeah. And
That's funny.
So my number 1 game. Can you guess?
Is it League of Legends? It better not be League of Legends.
No, it is not.
Pat, what do you think it is?
Your number 1 game?
My number 1 game.
Call of Duty World at War.
No.
Damn it.
I almost wanted to say Mysterium, but I'm like, that's a board game. And it's just
It's my favorite video game.
as a board game.
Yep.
My number one game, Pokemon Blue version.
Yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Yep.
Respect.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got the old cartridge. Its battery hasn't died. I still play it now. Oh, just get my Game Boy out. Has no backlight, so I have to...
Is that nostalgia for you, or is there something else? Like
A little bit, but it's just fun. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm, like, making up challenges for myself. Like, oh, let's see if I can beat the whole game. A bee drill.
Have you done a Nuzlocke?
No, not yet.
Nuzlocks are fun.
I was gonna say explain what a Nuzlocke is.
So a Nuzlocke, there's base rules and variants. So the base rules is you can only catch and use the first Pokemon that you run into per zone. If it dies, well, faints, you treat it as if it died and you have to release it. You no longer have it. And if you black out, you lose, game over, you start over. There's variants like you have to nickname all your Pokemon, and that's to try to make you, like your Pokemon more, so you don't just sacrifice them. Other things like you can't use your starter. Once you catch your first Pokemon, you have to release your starter. Things like that. You can't switch out any Pokemon in your party unless one of them faints. So you have to release it, then you can replace it. Things like that. So you can make it very difficult or just a fun little challenge.
Interesting approach. I like that.
It's fun. I've done a couple of them. I've only failed one of them. I completely blacked out, and I never knew I could get so mad at Pokemon.
How far did you make it? I want you to say I was in the Elite Four and I blacked out.
No, I wasn't at the Elite Four. There's kind of like a point where after you get past a certain point, you're good. Like, so you got to start implementing some of the other variant rules. I think I was in... Where was I? Was I in Cerulean? I think I was in Cerulean City.
I got a little distracted because I was just thinking about what you just said, where you remember a time where you blacked out and you have never hated Pokemon so much, and I'm just like, isn't that like a typical weekend for you, Pat? Like, isn't that normal?
You just black out and hate stuff?
Yeah, you just black out and hate Pokemon?
No, I consciously hate everything. That's how I do it.
That's your thing. Yeah, that's right.
I don't black out. I want to remember.
I want to remember all the things I hate in life. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that was a good list. We appreciate you adding your take into that. That'll be in the archive. And we posted on our website. So, to mention this, the website has all the episodes, but we also have notes on each episode, but we don't reveal the list. That's like the actual list. I'm not revealing it. I just put game 1 through 5. If you click on the link, you can check out a trailer, but if you're just kind of listening to the episode while reading the notes, it's not going to spoil it for you because not everybody's like Pat and wants to know everything that's happening.
It is not weird to like spoilers, okay? It's not weird.
I realize that. Well, no, I don't realize that. It's weird. You're weird, Pat. You're a strange fellow.
Why is it weird? I still get to see how things play out.
I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like it's self-sabotage, really.
Hello. Welcome to me.
Fair point. All right. So the next topic that I wanted to touch on briefly was Activision, which honestly, Activision, they've been in too many of these episodes. I'm writing out the notes for some of the episodes that we've had already, and Activision comes up way too much already, and I'm kind of annoyed by that. So the fact that they're coming up again is a little frustrating to me. So there's two things happening right now with Activision. Is they had a record-breaking 2018 as far as revenue, but then they decide to lay off 800 employees because of it. I don't get that. Someone tell me what's going on here.
How many employees again? Say again.
800 employees.
800 employees.
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine? Like, everybody, congratulations, company. We had one of our best years ever. And as a reward and a congratulations, goodbye. You're fired. Have a nice life. Like, what?
Kind of messed up. Well, and to even reference another gaming company, Nintendo, not too long ago, they had a really bad year with the Wii U because the Wii U was not very successful. And instead of laying off employees, the executives took a pay cut so that they didn't have to fire employees, because they, as a company, believe that it's bad for their culture and bad for their overall morale as a company to do that type of thing. Imagine being fired when a company is being successful. Like, what in the world is going on there?
That's just the company that, like, how can you continue to respect that company? Like, there's been companies, I was actually reading like an Ask Reddit thread. I don't remember what it was titled, but it was going on about why do companies give such huge bonuses to top end people and then let so many of lower ends go? And people were telling stories about their companies not doing well. And the one that really stuck out to me was a company wasn't doing well, and like the financial advisors of the company were telling the owner, you need to let go this many people, yada yada, to still be at this mark for your bottom line, blah blah blah. And he refused to do it. And so what he implemented instead was, he told everyone, instead of making a handful of people suffer a lot, we're all going to suffer a little bit. And he took a pay cut himself, and then everyone had 2 weeks of forced unpaid vacation. And you could take other people's unpaid vacation. So there were people in the company that were like, I know you're harder off than I am, so I'll take one of your weeks, so that way you don't have to take that 1 week of unpaid vacation, and I'll take 3 because me and my wife both work and only you work, and things like that. Like, it builds so much of a culture within the company. It makes your employees have better faith in you. They're going to work harder for you. People are going to want to come work for you. But no, we'll just have a really great year and then let all of you go. Big flipping the birds in the air.
Yeah. And your example is, that's the right way to be a leader of a company, and to like cultivate the appropriate culture for a company. Is you don't, like, leaders that don't sacrifice others so that they may gain, they sacrifice themselves so that others may gain. That's just how it goes. And the thing that really frustrates me is that this whole mass layoff thing is relatively new. It's really only happened over the last 40 years that this became a major practice. People didn't do it until like 1970, 1980. It didn't really happen. It wasn't a thing until executives realized, oh, we can balance the books by firing people. But the thing that's really fucked up about this situation to me is that typically these mass layoffs happen when companies are doing very poorly. So to do very well and have a record-breaking year, but decide that, these people need to go, it just really, I don't know, it's really messed up. And they call it restructuring because they want to put people in other places. And to me, it's like, well, then you reallocate the people to different departments. You don't need to be letting go 800 people.
So let's play a little devil's advocate here, right? So they have this great year and they let all these people go. Like, how can it be rationalized to say it's okay? So maybe relocating people it would actually be worse due to the training that some of these people would have to go through. Maybe some of them would have to take pay increases. So they'd rather just hire in outside people that they could start at a lower salary. Maybe some people would take pay cuts. So maybe at some point they're like, hey, why don't we just let them off with a severance instead of giving them a pay cut, give them some money to live off for a while they go find another job. If that was the case, how would it make you feel?
No better. It still says something about the culture or the company as a culture. To have a record improving year for such a company that has a greedy track record, and to even consider the idea that they're giving pay cuts, after having such a phenomenal year, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And again, to people listening who may have not heard me, I was just playing devil advocate. Still, fuck them for doing this. And if you heard that and you're like, what? I don't want to listen to this guy anymore. Like, I don't agree.
Something that Activision said is that they're doing this because they felt that they didn't reach their full potential. And that's what does that even mean? What does that mean?
That's absolutely ridiculous. We made a ton of money, but we should have made more, so we're going to let people go. Like, that's something that sports players say after winning something big. Like, we won, we played well, sure, but we could have done better and we will do better. Like, that's what you want to hear from your sports team, not your company.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because I was actually going to say they're playing this like it's a finite game, and business is not a finite game; it's an infinite game. So sports, yes, everyone has agreed upon rules. If we're referencing football or something like that, there's 4 quarters. Everyone has agreed upon rules. When the time is up, the team with the most points, they win. It is what it is, right? Businesses do not work that way. Businesses are more of an infinite game where you're literally just staying in business to continue to participate. There is no end goal. There is no we're better than everybody else, because even if Amazon's like, oh, we're better than this company because of this metric, did the other company agree to that metric as the measurement of us being better than each other? Probably not. So you can't even measure metrics like that. So it's an infinite game. So you have to play it just to stay in the game. You don't play it with the sense of, hey, there's a finite destination or a goal that we're after. It doesn't make any sense.
How do you feel about that, Pegs?
I don't know. So one of the thoughts that keeps going through my head is maybe they want to get out. Maybe they want to get bought up. Like, I know that's a successful company, but maybe they're just done. Let go a bunch of employees, so it's more painless for whenever we do sell out.
One thing that's interesting about this is, if you remember back with one of our first 1 or 2 episodes, I believe we talked about the 2 executives, the CFOs, one from Activision, one from Blizzard, that left in the same week, and now there's this stuff going on. So it did seem that maybe those executives knew there was something coming that they didn't like, and they needed to get out.
And that we did mention that maybe they can see what's down the line and they don't want any part of it. So that's why they're bailing now, so they don't have their names tied to it.
Good move on their part, I think.
Yeah, for real.
So, I mean, that's pretty messed up. The other topic for Activision is not as heavy, I would say. WWE superstar, or I don't know if he's still a superstar in WWE or not, but Booker T, he's a wrestler. If you don't know what WWE is, he is suing Activision for copyright infringement, specifically off of the character Prophet in Call of Duty. Call of Duty Black Ops 3? 4? Black Ops 4. Yeah, he's suing over that character.
There's a 4th?
Really?
Where have I been?
Maybe it is 3? Hold on. I don't know how many Black Ops there are.
That's the one that just came out.
Call of Duty's been out of my mind for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's a 4. He's suing because when seen side by side, it looks like a copyright infringement over a character he played in something else called GI Bro or something. And I mean, when I'm looking at the photos, they do look pretty much identical. So he's suing for copyright infringement over that.
Well, that's kind of like in League, they came out with the Striker Evolution skin, which is the Striker skin line is like soccer themed. And the splash art for it, when put side by side to a real life professional soccer player, is like identical. And that guy was coming out saying that he was maybe going to pursue legal action and whatnot. I don't know if anything ever came of it, but it's just funny that you mentioned that, and that popped into my head.
So that's a good segue into League, because that's the only thing going on with that news, is that, just another lawsuit. So Pat, take us into this League discussion.
League. All right, so the LCS. For those who don't know, the LCS stands for League of Legends Championship Series. It is the professional gaming scene for League of Legends. That has 2 splits over a season, where they then have finals, and then they go to the World Finals, where they compete against the top teams from every region. So today we're going to talk about the North American region, the current standings, our thoughts on the teams, things like that. So if you like League, hopefully you watch the LCS, or don't, you'll enjoy this, and maybe it'll get you into watching the LCS. So me personally, my team is Team Liquid, not because I'm a bandwagoner, but because I'm a Double Lift fanboy, and any team he's on, that's my favorite team. They're currently 7-0. They are killing it. There's been a couple games where they look like a little shaky in the beginning, but as soon as they have an opening, they take it and they run with it, and they end the game within like 5 or 10 minutes from that opening. Their macro play is on another level from everyone else in NA, in my opinion.
Well, their their entire squad is really experienced players, and they can punish the mistakes. That's what I've noticed in their games that are slow, is whenever they see that mistake, like you said, they pounce on it and they take it for everything it's worth.
I think a big thing that helped is they brought in Core JJ, who was a previous world champion from Korea, and he took a lot of the shot calling. For people who don't know, shot calling is, calling the plays that they should be doing, where everyone should be moving on the map, what they need to be looking to set up for, things like that. And it used to be Double Lift doing a lot of that, and taking a lot of that responsibility away from him allows him to concentrate more on his individual play. And Core JJ is just so much better at it. Not to shit on Double Lift or anything, but since he's so much better at it, it helps everyone else play to a higher level as well, because they have such trust in his calls.
And they also have one of the most impactful junglers in the league, in my opinion. Xmithie's crazy good. He's always where he needs to be. He's a playmaker. I'm watching these games and they're slow, and the thing that they capitalize on is Xmithie ganking a lane. That mistake turns into their win.
Yeah, they're just stacked overall. They're pretty ridiculous. They made some really good off-season moves and have really built the team up. I mean, my next point we'll get into a little later, but your team is TSM. How do you feel about them doing so far? They're currently 3-4.
They are 5th. It's I've been a TSM fan since the beginning, and I gotta say it's kind of hard, just with everything that happened with the organization, kind of player mistreatment. But there's times that I'm watching their games. What are you guys doing? What's going on? Why are we running these plays this way? It's like watching any other sports. You're watching your football team, your soccer team. Why are we running this play? It's obvious.
TSM has always been a powerhouse, so it's weird to see them struggling so much. It's to use a football comparison, they're kind of like the Patriots. They have this huge fan base. In the past, they've always been really successful domestically. And now, if you're a huge Patriots fan, or even if you're not, they're a very successful team. And then if they just started hitting this steady decline and playing like garbage, there's some people who are going to be like, great, I love that. Be in last place. I don't want to ever see you again. But, it's still the fact of seeing a top tier team slowly drop to mid tier and now teetering on the edge of maybe dropping to a bottom tier team.
Yeah, but I gotta say it's nice to see that we're playing junglers that aren't just supports. We got a playmaker in a jungle position. In the last season, it's all right, you're gonna play Sejuani, you're gonna be a tank, and that's your job.
You are gonna be a moving ward.
Yeah. It's we're not adaptive in a way.
Yeah, they're playing a lot more proactive now, and I got to give them respect for that. Whereas before, it was always just play and wait for them to make a mistake and hope we can do something about it. And if we can't, well, then GG. So
yeah. Where's the FF button?
Yeah. Now, do you think that they could start doing better? Do you think that they're going to hit an upswing, or do you think this split is not going to be their best and we might have to wait for next split to see something good come of them?
They always surprise me in some way, whether it's losing to Golden Guardian or beating Team Liquid today, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be their split, though. I don't think they take. I'm calling third.
You're calling third?
Yeah,
really?
I think they'll climb.
I'm thinking fifth.
I don't. They are fifth currently.
Yeah, I think that's where they're gonna stay.
Nah, man. I think they'll realize that they can do better.
See, I don't think they're gonna take over Liquid. I don't think they're gonna take over C9. I
think we can beat C9.
Well, I mean, maybe beat C9, but I don't think they're gonna take C9 in the standings.
Oh, okay. I see.
And I don't think that they're going. FlyQuest and CLG are kind of up in the air if they could pass them in the standings. But if FlyQuest keeps playing the way that they have, like they keep up that good momentum and like clean aggression, I don't know if they'll be able to pass them in the standings. They just strike me as a middle tier team at the moment.
I'm pulling on our mid laners experience, our AD carries experience. You know, they're both really good players. They've been playing professionally for a while. I think their experience will pull TSM into, you know, third, fourth place eventually. Maybe. I hope.
I think Sven has been playing well. I was like, once they dropped Mithy, the training weights came off, and he's been playing well. I don't know what's going on with Bjerg. In my opinion, Bjerg he's not like as aggressive as he used to be. He now plays more to not lose than to win. So there's times where like when he'll get a lead, he'll start to press it, but I don't see him try to get that lead as much as it is like, I'm just going to try to control my lane, you know, stay here, farm it up.
I love Bjergsen. He's one of my favorite players, but I think it's just he wants to leave.
Chris, who do you root for?
I'm a TL bandwagoner, 100%. So I used to be more TSM, but then I kind of jumped off of TSM after they basically started annihilating their entire roster to kind of appease Bjergsen. And to kind of like build around him. I mean, I think you both probably got the idea from the Activision talk that I'm a really big component of culture and morale, and I think that is very damaging to a team. So the moment when I realized that they were very quick to sacrifice other players because they didn't play up to their potential, I guess, so to speak, I was like, yeah, I don't want any part of that. So I dropped them.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I think Bjergsen wants to leave TSM is he's realizing this culture.
Yeah, I think they've created a really toxic culture, and you know, to an extent, I get it. You know, you're talking about a really high stress, high pressure, performance based roster type of thing, but at the same time, these are people, and these are people that, I mean, they're young kids, many of them, but they need this income to sustain the lifestyle that they have, or to do what they're doing. I mean, I'm a little bit more forgiving since these are like, most of these people are like under 25. I think Double Lift's like one of the older ones. These are not 50-year-old people. They're, really working hard and they're about to get laid off or anything.
Making huge money.
Yeah, but I just see it as a little toxic to be so quick to have 1 year that didn't go your way, and so you drop your entire team and try to rebuild it and send everybody flying in different directions. So to watch TL go from such a poor position, what was it, 2 years ago, to kind of being rebuilt last year and really staying strong this year.
Champs.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, this is awesome. This is what I want to see. I want to see TSM be punished for the kind of culture that they've brought onto themselves, and I want to see Team Liquid, because who is it? Steve, I think, is their owner. I mean, he seems like a really genuinely nice guy and that wants to take really good care of his team, and I don't get that same impression from a lot of these other teams.
So with TSM and the whole rebuilding thing that you were talking about, let me throw some facts at you that I learned later down the line, see if they maybe change your opinion. So the 2016 roster, that was Double Lift, Biofrost, Bjergsen, Svenskeren, and Hanser, did well and then didn't do so hot at Worlds. So they wanted to bring a shot calling support in so that way Double Lift and Bjergsen didn't have to shot call as much. To kind of, because they are very mechanically gifted players, so they wanted to be able to open them up more. So they were looking at Mithy, but to get Mithy, they had to bring Sven as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they looked at it as, well, this is the support that we want, and here's the reasons why. And so we'll bring them over, they've always been a duo until this year, and they were always considered one of the best duos in the West. So it was kind of, a little bit of a calculated risk that didn't seem too risky from their end, in the sense of, like, this is what we need to do for the team. If we have to sacrifice Double Lift as well, then I guess that's what needs to be done. So knowing that it was almost ultimatomy for them. Does that change your opinion on it at all?
I mean, not really. And this is because I don't play professional sports specifically for this type of reason, as you mentioned. Trying to just sacrifice another person. I don't just see them as players. I see them as people. And so when you sacrifice, double lift, or in this case it was double lift and Biofrost, and I think Svenskeren got released too, didn't he, from the jungle position that during that same time frame?
He did, yeah.
So, when you say sacrifice, I see it as, okay, cool, they're trying to make a business move, and that's fine, but these are also people's lives, and I don't like that aspect of it, and I don't really enjoy that type of thing. I would rather see that, it didn't work out, so let's make the right decisions where we need to make it to try and improve everybody around us and get to where we need to be, instead of just being so fast to be like, well, this person will improve our team, so we just need to go ahead and release these 3 guys so we can get these other guys in, and we'll be good to go.
Now, those players have come out and said that whenever they were let go, like, the organization still helped them find another team so that they weren't teamless, and they helped them find like a good team so they weren't just pawned.
Yeah, which I feel is definitely much more than a lot of other people do, but I think it just adds another layer of stress into what is already a very stressful and short-lived profession for a lot of these people.
Yeah.
Well, what I think they need to do, I mean, all of these teams have academy teams, academy players. I mean, Optic ran their academy roster the first couple games of this split. They need to be pulling people from their lower tier and build up their own franchise instead of just buying players in.
Very similar to how the NFL has practice squads on the back end, where if people are injured or whatever the case may be, they pull people from their practice squads.
Yeah, I agree. I think C9 did a really good job at that last year with utilizing their academy team to help build up talent. And like, it's also smart business, because if you're taking these good players and you have them on your academy team, they're good rookies, and you want to help build up their skill until they're ready to be on the big stage. You're a good business move. You're taking them away from other teams as well. But Cloud9 did a really good job at using their academy team to scrim with them, to almost like make people compete for their spots. Like, this person has been performing better than you, even though you have a better overall record and you're a crowd favorite and whatnot. Like, if you want your spot, this person has been working their ass off for that spot, so we're going to bring them in because you've been lazy at your spot. And once you prove that you're going to work for it and that you are better than this person, you have the ethic to do it, then we'll bring you back.
I wish more sports teams worked that way. Still salty from collegiate soccer.
Sorry.
First team practice squad, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I find it kind of stressful, and so that's why I'm more of a Team Liquid fan at this point. I mean, I agree that there are some players that are not particularly good, and I don't know why they're still on some teams. I'm not a big fan of Houdini, for one. I think he's disastrous. But that's just me. I think he feeds way too much.
He's always trying to solo carry.
Yeah, and I don't like that mentality. It kind of steps away from, we're a collective team organization, and we play as a team, and you've got one player over here that's just trying to man up and do one, all this kind of stuff. And there's so many games now that I feel like you can look at Houdini's play and be like, I mean, he basically cost us the game because of the plays that he decided he wanted to make on his own.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has an ego issue, but the guy also was a world's finalist.
He's probably narcissistic, it would be my guess. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I'm just going to throw that out there. Houdini, if you're listening to this, feel free to tweet me. You can let me know.
Don't at me, bro. I don't know, interviews and stuff that I watch with him, it's like I watch one interview and he just sounds super cocky, and I'm like, I cannot wait for you to get smashed. And then other ones, he just sounds very confident. So he kind of like skates that line and sometimes steps one way or the other depending on what his matchup is going to be. But I don't know what it is. Like, whenever he was on Fnatic, they went 18-0. They did well at Worlds, and then he went to
Immortals.
He went to Immortals, came to NA, and they did pretty decent, if I remember correctly. They were in playoffs. Oh, was that their 17-1 season?
Yeah.
All right, so he did pretty
good.
good.
Decent.
Yeah, he did pretty good. And then he went to Korea, went to SKT, which at the time was considered like the best team in the world. They won 3 world championships. And then they lost in world finals. And then he comes back again, and he has just been playing like garbage, in my opinion. Like getting solo killed by rookies and stuff. And
I mean, for something like this, for something like the game of League and playing video games competitively, I mean, the career is short-lived. I mean, you start getting people in there that are younger and have better reaction time and things of that nature, and a lot of those skills you can teach to them. So you're really looking for the instincts and the reaction time, and then you teach the strategy, and then boom, people like Houdini are out because they just can't compete on a mechanical level anymore.
see, in my opinion, though, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a professional player or paid to be an analyst or anything like that, so I could be completely wrong. But macro is so much better than mechanics. Like if one team is mechanically better than another, but that other team is just worlds higher in macro.
Yeah, I think the strategy matters more. I think as a team, if you're not mechanically better and you get outplayed by another team, but if your strategy is on a better and you keep track of the things that matter, I think you tend to win more frequently than not.
Well, I think as far as mechanics go, it kind of plays on to, are you making too many big dick plays? And I've definitely fallen into that track. Yeah, I mean, whenever I'm playing, I'm like, oh, I know how to beat this person, and then I do something stupid and cost us the game.
Well, the problem is that, from our perspective, we go, you said, I know how to beat this person, and that's not accurate. So really what it is I know how to beat this champion, but I don't know how to beat this individual person, because even though we play the same champions, everybody plays them a little bit differently. And I think that's where, it gets a little rough.
And that's why I'm not a pro.
Yeah, I mean, we may understand the dynamics of a champion and how to play them, but I think there was a game that happened yesterday with Kassadin. Who was it? It was Power of Evil. I think he made some Kassadin play at the end. So, I didn't even know you could do that with Kassadin, but apparently you can.
I think just Power of Evil can.
But it's things like that where it's like, these players have learned other nuances that a lot of other players may not know. And so even though you feel like you understand a champion, they could definitely do things that you probably aren't aware of, or they have tendencies that you might not be aware of. I think that's where they need really good data analysts from an individual team standpoint to dig into the data of their opponents to see what the tendencies of the other players are so they can exploit them during competition.
Well, teams are bringing a lot more of those in now, too. They're also bringing in sports psychologists and things like that because, it is so stressful that they bring these sports psychologists in to help keep their mental in check so they don't have these mental breakdowns. So like Ole, the old support for Team Liquid, I believe one of the reasons they let him go was, one, they were able to get like one of the best supports in the world in Core JJ, but also whenever they had the midseason invitational, in one of their games, he had to sub out because he just couldn't take the stress. He was like having a panic attack, like having a breakdown. He could not go on stage and play that game. So they had to sub him in. And the sub was just not on the same level in any way, shape, or form. And so they got dominated.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, they're bringing in life coaches and all this other kind of stuff because we had talked a little bit about this of, the career is short-lived. It's high stress for young people. It's something else, that's for sure.
I mean, the stress overall is on another level. I mean, let's see. They wake up. A lot of teams, if you're on like a really top tier team who has a lot of cash flow, so they'll wake up and they have people that are paid to come there and prepare meals for them, like nutritionists, and they eat. They play solo queue for an hour or two, play a couple games, and they scrim for about 4 or 5 hours. They break, they eat, they go back to scrimming for another 4 or 5 hours. They end their scrimming schedule at like 10 o'clock at night, and then they're done. But the pressure is there for them to keep playing solo queue, to keep working on their mechanics and their understanding of different champions and everything. So they play until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning and just completely exhaust themselves.
And there's pressure to not have a social life or relationships and things like that outside the game. And this isn't League specific. I mean, this extends to Counter-Strike and Overwatch and all the other major ones as well. This it exists across all of esports, unfortunately.
They're also playing like one of the most toxic games too, and you have all these fans just.
How could you
about to
say that?
shit on
League
you.
is just absolutely glamorous. Okay, there's nobody out there in League that's toxic.
I've never been flamed on League.
Surprised I haven't been chat banned yet.
You said about not having relationships. There's players whenever, like, if it gets out that they have a girlfriend, if they perform poorly, everyone online then is like flaming this dude because he has a girlfriend. He's not fully concentrating on the game. His girlfriend's distracting him, and he's not having a girlfriend. It's like, bro, that's
It's
ridiculous.
crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. It's not a
And, like,
position I would want to find myself in.
If people find out that they're playing other games, they get pissed at them and they flame them. I mean, in between splits when they have their break, people will watch them stream, and if they're streaming other games, they get pissed. They're like, what are you doing? You didn't do so well last year. You should be playing League. You shouldn't be playing Path of Exile or Fortnite or whatever this is. And it's just like, man, like, burnout's a thing. People are going to perform worse if they do it too much. Like, they need breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do we think is going to happen today with the TL-TSM game?
I think TL should win it. But I just have this little feeling that this will be the game where TSM goes, hey, why don't we get our shit together, and is going to put up a good fight and might be able to take it away from them. But I really want TL to get that perfect season because it's never been done in NA before. So like I think TL should win, but might not. I think there's a 20% chance.
It's gonna be my favorite mid matchup at least. I like Jensen and Bjergsen against each other.
That's true. That's always a good mid matchup. Just hopefully we don't put Jensen on Echo.
Hopefully I don't know what I want to say here. I just want it to be a good game on both sides.
I want it to not be a cheese game.
Yeah, I want it to be entertaining. I want to be drinking my beer and watching and being like, this was a good game. You know, I'm glad it happened. Win or lose, I just want to be entertained. That's really what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, I don't want them to pick some weird bot pick. Like, was it yesterday Sven was on Cassiopeia in the bot lane, which is, you know, an unconventional pick, we'll do air quotes in.
They did ban Ezreal and Lucian.
Yeah, well.
I mean, what else are you going to pick? Once you got rid of those, it's mages.
Well, I mean, Kai'Sa's still good. Who did the other team pick? Didn't they pick, like, Callista or something?
Yeah, they played Callista.
Ugh. Gross. I don't like that.
TSM hovered Jinx.
See, that would have been awesome. I love Jinx. I love watching Jinx players. I don't know. I just want conventional picks. I want it to be a complete scrap.
I want the quality of both teams to show. Like, both teams are really good teams, and they should perform well.
I agree. Like, I'm a TL fan. I want them to win, but I want TSM to perform because I want to see a good knockdown drag out game. I want it to be back and forth. I want it to just be good.
I want Baron baits. I want dragon fights.
Yeah, I don't want a complete
I
steamroll.
want rages. I want a broken keyboard or two, maybe a punch monitor, something like that.
We have to pause the game.
No pauses. Please, no pauses.
Swapping peripheral on the fly.
Oh, gosh.
He broke his keyboard. Get him a new one.
Speaking of people breaking keyboards and screens, do you remember there was a Chinese AD carry player who came over to NA whenever, what was the name of it? LMQ. Their AD carry player, he went back to China and was on pro teams. And I don't know what happened to this dude, but he just lost it. There was a pro game where in the middle of it, he died and he raged his team. He rage quit a professional game. Like on the stream, it pops up saying that he has left the game. Stands up, punches the monitor, throws his keyboard, is like flipping other people's monitors over. They had to get security to get him. Have you heard about that?
It's not a toxic game. It's not toxic at all.
Goodness.
Yeah, I wish I could remember his name. But at the same time, he doesn't deserve his name to be out there. He doesn't deserve any more fame, even if it's infamy. Acting like
If
that.
I can find it during the time of editing this podcast, I will link it in the website description so everybody can see this video.
I think he was arrested at another point too for like hitting his girlfriend or something on stream, and the people watching the stream ended up calling the cops.
Rightfully
An actual
so.
swatting. One that makes sense.
A
legitimate swatting. Yeah.
All right, this is a question for both of you. You're making an NA super team. Who would you put on it? You can take any players right now. You can't just pick one team and say this one. Like they're already like Liquid is already considered a super team, but you can't just pick an already existing team. You got to swap out at least 2 players.
Someday top, Svenskeren jungle, Jensen mid, double lift core JJ bot.
That's a good one. What about you, Chris?
I'm just gonna agree with Isaac on this one because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't know any junglers off the top of my head. I only know of one top lane that sticks out. And I'm like, I don't know. Half these players, I don't even know what the hell they do or what position they play. I'm just in it to be in it.
I'd be okay with Licorice top too. Like if someday
That's who I would go.
I would pick Licorice.
I am not picking Licorice because I hate Licorice. Okay, not the player or the person, but the food.
That is a ridiculous reason, Christopher.
Yes, it is, but I'm standing by it. Fuck
Say it with enough confidence.
I respect you sticking to your guns.
Exactly. You can't bring me down.
I would go Licorice, Xmithy, Bjerg, double lift core JJ. I think at the moment Jensen's better than Bjerg, but I can't think of anyone I'd rather have in the jungle over Xmithy, personally. And I think if Bjerg was on a team with so many other star players where a lot of pressure was off of him, he would perform better. So I'll put Bjerg in there.
I would like Houdini and then 4 players AI designed off of Houdini's playstyle. And then everyone's just playmaking and it's just absolute nonsense.
Can I sub double lift out for Shroud?
For Shroud?
I'm sure he could be good at this game.
He's good at everything. Like
just headshot mechanics.
Oh, Apex Legends, what's this game? I'll download this. Oh, I've already won 10 games. God, you son of a bitch.
As soon as you download it, I've got 1,000 kills after install. Perfect. Unlock all the champions. This is good. Start every match with legendary equipment.
Well, we've been playing Apex now for, 1 week or 2 weeks?
I want to play it for
2
more.
weeks? I think it's probably over about a week and a half, I think.
About a week and a half, yeah. How's everyone enjoying it so far?
Well, I might be obsessed.
I love that. I'm so happy to hear that, Pegs.
Well, especially after that nice rebuild that Chris and I did on my computer.
So long as it doesn't burst into flames anyway.
It's warm, but, it's not on fire.
Man, that's fair.
And that's what counts.
That's fair. I mean, I enjoy the game. I like it better than the other Battle Royales that we've played together. I'm terrible at it, which I accept. I'm fine with that, but I'm a little obsessed with Diablo 3 just because of the progress I'm making on the leaderboard. So,
yeah, you're doing some stuff.
You are. You're doing work, man. Good for you. What are you up to? 104 you've cleared?
Yes, I cleared 104 earlier today, so I should be doing 105 at some point, maybe tonight, maybe.
It's pretty good, man.
I need to get into 108 to get into the top 1,000 on the leaderboard, so...
Well, you might as well just shoot for 109. Because going for 108, it's like all down to like milliseconds,
I mean, before the season's over, I would like to have done somewhere between like 110 and 115. Which that's a bit of a stretch, feeling like, I just finished 104, but, it's the little things, the little step here and there.
I mean, there's still like 2 months left in the season, so...
Yeah, I've definitely got time.
And I think at this point, the leaderboards have like stalled.
Yeah, it doesn't grow much. Like most people are just pushing for 121, and it's not going really anywhere beyond that at the moment. So it's not going to grow much more than it already has.
You get the people that go really hard at the beginning, and they fizzle out and they stop playing. So like their place on the leaderboard is just they are where they are, and they're not going to go up from there. They're only going to go down as people pass them. So
yeah, I'm playing the long game here.
Wait for everyone to get bored first, and then
Basically, and then I swoop in and I start sniping people off the leaderboard one at a time.
Just been min-maxing for weeks.
Basically, I mean, I've gotten some really good upgrades this past week. I mean, with the Primal Traveler's Pledge amulet, which was really nice. And then Pat got a nice Compass Rose yesterday, I think, that rolled intelligence that I took off of him. So that was good. I appreciate that. Saved me all the effort. Yeah, I like how you were like, oh, I'm really happy with this company. Oh, I rolled in. What is this bullshit?
Yeah, that was a bummer.
All right, well, let's wrap up this episode.
All right, everybody. Thanks, for tuning in and listening to us ramble on about random bullshit with our friend Pegs here. We appreciate it. Pegs, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, you're welcome, bud. If you're new here, we hope that we were interesting enough to you that you return. And if we weren't, we hope you give us another shot. But if you don't, I get it. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week, and have a perfect day.